Thanks for that additional work.
The
Okay, we've got Kaha here, so come on up, team. Sorry to keep you waiting, but thank you for coming in. Really appreciate it.
David normally delivers this update, so I'll let David talk and happy to be here. Over to you, David.
Tēnā koutou katoa. Thank you for inviting us to your meeting. You've got a report which was prepared and presented to you, I think, in front of you, and really it's probably appropriate for me to just talk to or just highlight some of the components within that. The most important part being, and which is something that people generally like to hear, is that there are no current issues with the project that council needs to be aware of or worried about. We are continuing to track on program and on budget. We had a board meeting last week, and the project director from B6WATPAC joined our board and gave us an update on issues they're facing currently, on their programming and various things. And so we've got an ongoing, very transparent and good relationship with our design and build contractor. We have been maintaining a strict control on the project contingency, which is within our project budget and separate from the council's own contingency. And we've been managing the risks that we're responsible for under that contract quite carefully. In many cases, the risks haven't eventuated, or they've been managed in such a way as to not require as much money spent on them as we had at first feared. What that's done is allow us to have a review of the contingency within the project budget and add in the replay screens and ribbon boards, which obviously have to be part of the ongoing operation of the facility, and some gender-neutral toilets. So they've now been funded and approved by the Kaha Project Delivery Board. The ribbon boards and replay screens were originally hoped to be provided through a commercial arrangement with Venues Otatahi, but they've been to the market and that hasn't been possible to eventuate. So that's why we've brought them into the project contingency. And as I said, which has the capacity for that. With respect, I guess, to the other things that are of high interest to the council, we continue to have quarterly community meetings. We hold them at the temporary cathedral. We invite all the local community to come in. B6WATPAC and us, the project team, provide an update on what's been happening and what's proposed to be happening on site with the project over the next period, and answer questions and chat with the locals. Sometimes we get as many as 7 there.
Are you one of them, Jake?
The detailed design of the building has taken a bit longer than was anticipated, and this hasn't caused problems with program. It just means they do different things in different sequences. With the completion of that design almost done, I think the last building consent was submitted in January. So there's one to go. So the second to last one was submitted to council in January on time, and we've had a very good relationship between us, the council officers, and the design build contractor in terms of processing all of those consents and dealing with any questions. We've now received from the building contractor, as a consequence of that design being sufficiently advanced, a first draft of their sustainability report measuring carbon inputs into the building throughout the design phase. The technical information is with us, but they have yet to add some further analysis and graphic representation of that, but we're having a look at that, and we expect to be able to report to our board and to this council and provide a copy of that report in the near future. Other areas with respect to sustainability are measured frequently, and B6WATPAC report to us on a monthly basis about a variety of targets in terms of efficiency of use of water, fuel, energy on site, employment of and engagement of local contractors and those sorts of things, and they are achieving or bettering their targets in those respects. Those are the key points out of the report that I wanted to highlight, but happy to answer any questions or endeavour to.
Thank you very much for that, David. I think we've got a couple of
We've
questions.
got a video, a drone video as well.
Oh, drone video? How do we do that?
Oh, great. The only thing, before we play that,
Sorry, yeah, we take drone footage of the project every 2 weeks, and it gets updated onto the website and handed out to various groups. I suppose the other thing I could add is that since the Christmas break, we've had a lot of media interest in the project. Just over the last week, Kent's been on Breakfast TV. I did a radio interview last week, and there's been some print media queries, and all of them are opening with questions like, how's it going? It looks great. So we're not getting bombarded with concerns. So here's the drone video now. So this is looking from the, let me think, where are we? Southeastern corner. So you can see the first on the very left, that sort of triangle of white. It's what's called a radial truss. It's the first one of, I think, 42 or something that will go around the building and serve the purpose of holding up the roof.
I understand the roof in the centre is about 14 metres higher than the top of that truss.
That's about right, isn't it? Yeah, 11, according to Ken. I have been asked by a particular construction company whether there are any other cranes left in Christchurch that they could hire. I think we've got 7 of those cranes on site at the present time. So putting up those radial trusses needs 3 cranes at once, holding different bits. We were talking. We had breakfast at B6 Watpac this morning, and they've been reviewing the manner in which they are put up and seeing how much more work they can do on them on the ground before they put them up. So there are a couple more on site, but they're still working on the methodology. So you can see there that some of the concrete form for the seating is in place around the bowl. That's the western side, looking from the south up the site.
To get this done.
I
You can
just
stop
want
it
to
now.
say,
Yeah.
while we are always talking about good news, there's a lot of work going on in the background to manage these risks. And the transparency with the contractor is critical, because we've transferred a lot of risk over to them, but we do need to know what's going on so we can proactively influence them to achieve the outcomes we need. Right, we've still got another 2 years to go. And the area that always concerns us or worries us is program.
yeah.
Okay, so 2 years to go. There's a lot of work to be done, and there's a lot of work going on with these guys and others proactively managing those risks.
That's really useful. You probably can't answer this, but I'm going to ask you anyway and see what you can. Is because I often think about it with the structure we put in place around delivering to Kaha. I think even government are taking note now of how that can be done, as long as you've got someone that's prepared to accept the risk. At the time we signed it up, I mean, I know there was the significant increase in cost, but looking at the modelling they did it on then, that was conservative, I guess, in terms of actually how the economy's played out for the last 2 years. Do you get a sense, I guess it's probably not a fair question to ask you, it might be one for them, is are they still in a comfortable position in terms of how they're delivering it, given I suspect their expectations are probably a bit less than they were given what's played out?
Well, to be frank with you, Sam, we ask that question every time we see them, because it's really important to us to know where the pressure points are.
Yeah.
And if there is a pressure point, we want to understand what it is and how it could affect the project. And look, there's been pluses and minuses. They're taking the risk on steel prices. The final design, that roof is really challenging, right? So the amount of steel gone onto that roof and the amount of work they've done on that roof is probably much more than they anticipated. but there's other areas where they've had savings. The subcontractor market is soft at the moment, so labour availability should be really good. And they've been very careful around making sure that they, from a health and safety point of view, and even from a quality point of view, that they've managed those subcontractors really, really well. So they've had pluses and minuses. They've got no control over international commodity prices, but the way we managed and set up this contract is that they could lock in a lot of that risk back in July 2022, and they have done that. But there's some risks that they couldn't lock in, and they had to take that risk. So swings and roundabouts, but
they're still
we
healthy.
asked that they're okay.
Yeah.
But obviously there's a long way to go.
Yeah.
So
Okay. No, that's really useful. I've got Sarah and then Aaron, and then Yanni.
Thank you. I've got one thank you and then a question. So first, my thank you is for working with Qtopia over getting those gender neutral toilets in place. I know it's really important that all members of our community feel safe and comfortable attending events at the arena. So that's excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Second one on the sustainability. So great to hear that report's coming soon. You mentioned the sort of day-to-day KPIs with the actual build process. Is that captured by the sustainability report, or is it possible for me to get a look
Yes,
at
it
that
is.
kind of information separately?
We get monthly and quarterly updates on those, and they are included in
Overall
the pack that goes to our board every month.
Yeah.
So
No,
we-
just is it part of the overall sustainability report that's going to come to us as well?
Well, that's a separate one, but we
Shaking
can
sweet.
bundle them.
Yeah, yeah. If I could have a look at those, or if we could
Sure.
get an idea of that
Sure.
stuff as well,
The one
that'd be
that
excellent.
relates to design, the reporting that we get each month is around site operations.
Yeah. So if you were able to report to us on both of those aspects,
Yep.
that would be great. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome, thank you. And quick comment and then a question. So it does bringing in those videos is a fantastic update, and obviously they'll be archived and people will see them in the future and it'll be cut together. We feel like the Romans in the first century as someone's to come in with a bit of papyrus.
So, good point.
Yeah.
But we're in questions.
So
So,
I'll bury my pride for a moment.
Yeah.
The question is with the gender neutral toilets. I take it they're fully accessible as well. So it's just a generic design that is
Yes,
fully
yeah.
accessible. Just
Yeah.
that we don't then go, now we've got these other ones around there.
No.
They just tick both boxes all the time. Thank you.
Yeah, I was just wondering, do we have a date for when the cultural design is going to be released?
Yeah, so we've, I guess for the presentation we gave you last year, we shared with you that design. And obviously we've been, as part of finalising the detailed design, we've been working with the contractor on both the facade and the seating. And I think we're pretty close to be able to finalise that and release it. So maybe a month away.
Is there going to be some sort of event to release it?
We can discuss that with Night Tuahuriri and Venues Otatahi and come back to you.
The second question in terms of the design and as it's progressed, but is there any, I still don't get a sense of any outside of events activation within the arena or external, on the external part of the arena to kind of raise revenue when there's not things happening, e.g. bars, cafes.
Perhaps we can ask, if you don't mind, perhaps we can ask Venues Otatahi to pick that one up and come back and formally reply to that.
Right.
Because our responsibility is to build it and to specification and hand it over to Venues Otatahi. So we are delivering what we're asked to deliver and they are commercialising it. So,
Right. So my understanding,
so it's been
From
asked and
initial-
answered, Yanni, that it's operational in terms of actually how we run the facility. So I think we'll flag it with the team and they're going to take it to VO and come back to you.
oh, okay, because previously I think the response has been from VO was that there's going to be design elements within the eastern side of the stadium that would enable some sort of hospitality
We
offerings.
will get that advice and come back to you.
So could I just say this? So Venues Otatahi, they attend every, they're an advisor to the board, so they attend every board meeting. They're involved in every project delivery meeting, and so they effectively sign off on the specification and we deliver it. So I think we'll address that question with them, and they can
Yeah, great.
answer that.
Thank you. Okay, so thank you both very much all for the team for coming in. It's good to see it's on track, on budget, and on time. It's always good. So I'm happy to move that. Phil's happy to, or Tyler's happy to second it. Any discussion? All in favour? Against? That's carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now what we're going to do is Abby outside?
I assume so.
Yeah. So we might go into PX